My name is Brianna Marshall. I'm an HR project manager at HR Collaborative. A lot of you probably are familiar with HR Collaborative, but we're a professional services firm located in downtown Grand Rapids. And we really come alongside of our clients to elevate their human resources function and help them create thriving workplaces. So I'm really excited to be here with you tonight, sort of tee up the concept of collaborative intelligence, but really thinking about it in the context of the new sort of iGen, that generation that's emerging and coming into the workforce. So there are a lot of great folks tonight who are going to talk about emotional intelligence, so I'm not going to focus on this too much, but it is tied very closely to collaborative intelligence, so I wanted to throw out a definition there for those of you who may not have heard of emotional intelligence before. So emotional intelligence is really the capability of individuals to be able to understand themselves and their emotions, as well as recognizing the emotions and feelings of other people and leveraging that to achieve their goals in the workplace. So traditionally, folks have been hired for their IQ and their experience, but what research has found is that what folks are fired for is their emotional intelligence levels. And really started to understand that folks who are successful across a variety of organizations and industries, it's really their emotional intelligence that's sort of sending them to success and less about their IQ and their experience. So this is tied to collaborative intelligence because we know that emotional intelligence can be used to sort of look at how are folks being successful individually. But at HR Collaborative and with our clients, oftentimes we see that collaborative intelligence is a factor that ties in and really sort of creates a boost to the business value and also just brings more organizational growth. So collaborative intelligence, this term was popularized in 2015 by authors Angie MacArthur and Donna Markova, and they define collaborative intelligence as thinking with others who think differently on behalf of what matters to us all. And so their book is really about dignifying the differences in how individuals think and leveraging that to solve complex problems. And so it sort of is tied to emotional intelligence because obviously you have to have a little bit of awareness of yourself and others to be able to sort of move into that collaborative space. But when you're able to learn how to think with others who think differently on behalf of what matters to you personally and in your organization, then that can produce really great benefits, but also in our complex world where we understand that the problems that we're solving are not as straightforward as the problems that we used to solve. That becomes a really, really important piece. And I just love this picture because when I think about collaborative intelligence, I think about a rising tide lifts all boats. And so when we think about iGen coming into the workplace and their preferences and their communication styles and things that may be different from how we would interact in the workplace, I think there's ways that we can think together, even though we're different, that elevate everyone. So a couple of concepts that I'll talk about really quickly before we get into the panel discussion about iGen are from the Collaborative Intelligence book. And the first is the concept of hero to host. So, traditionally the way that folks have looked at problems is like there's a problem, there's one right answer, and the best person will get to the right answer first. But what we understand now is that a lot of the problems that we're solving are really complex, and maybe there's not just one solution to that problem. And so this really requires a mindset shift for us to go from seeing ourselves as the hero or as the one person who has the right answer to really being a host of innovative and relational thinking and bringing a group together and transitioning from just thinking about ourselves as solely independent to how can we be interdependent with each other. The second concept I think is really useful from collaborative intelligence is thinking about market share to mind share. So in a market share economy, value is created and carried by things and how much stuff that either we or as an organization, what we own. And we see that our world is really switching to become a mind share world, and so value is created and carried by the exchange of ideas and the connections that we have with each other. And switching from a market share economy to a mind share world really requires that we learn to use influence with people rather than power over them. So I think that's really, really important. And you can see examples of that if you think about Airbnb or even lynda.com. Their collective impact is greater not because of what they own, but because of the exchange of ideas that they collect and curate together. And then the last concept that I think is helpful for our panel discussion is red plus blue equals purple. This is one of my favorite concepts from collaborative intelligence. And so this is really the idea that we exist so often in a polarized context. So we're sort of playing tug of war, and we're kind of going back to that one person is right, one person is wrong kind of feeling. But if we can sort of look at some of the issues in our organizations, some of those polarities, and think how can it be a both and instead of an either or, that will really help to elevate your organizations as a whole. And one of the visuals I love from the book is they talk about when you're playing tug of war, instead of fighting and pulling at both ends, bend towards each other in your conflict and fuse that with discovery. So you're bending towards each other, and then your tug of war becomes a circle where the ends meet together in a circle of innovation rather than just a fight. So just a couple of concepts I wanted to share with you, and I'm hoping that as we have a panel discussion with some of the other folks that are coming up, that you'll be able to see how these themes in collaborative intelligence can be weaved as you're thinking about bringing iGen into the workplace and their expectations and what that means. Thanks. Blythe, I'll turn it over to you.